God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. All right, good. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Boom. That's my, that way I get to be with the band, you see, when I, yeah. All right, so who cares? All right, so good morning, everyone. How we doing? My name is Reverend Michael McMorrow. I'm the Senior Minister, Spiritual Director here at our Center for Spiritual Living. You're in GranadaHills, California, in case you flew down from the Great North Woods. So we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And so let's just take a moment to meet and greet each other and say, Happy Spring. Time to get spiritual. So please help me welcome to the platform Reverend Jessica Fish, our presider this morning. All right, so let's all take a deep, conscious breath, allowing ourselves to use the breath to anchor us in this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So, as Reverend Elizabeth, Reverend Jessica lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Reverend Jessica lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Join me in this co-creative consciousness of love. That which always is, that which always was, that which always will be. God, love, harmony, peace, joy. That which has no center and circumference, that which has center and circumference, that which is everything. The paradox of nothing and something, everything. I know that we are one with that we are co-creating this life as that this service is coming from that open, blessed heart of God, of us. That as we sit here, we are in agreement that this is a beautiful day. I declare that this service is blessed, that the musical inspiration is blessed, especially every day that starts with a saxophone. Our multimedia is blessed. Nikki, yes. And Cersei, thank you. Our children's church, where those children get to learn these spiritual principles, which if I had known when I was younger, oh my God, how great that would have been. For those, I bless those Kleenex that we have that allow us to have our feelings, our emotions, gives us permission to feel the love that spills over from our heart through our eyes. I bless Reverend Michael. He is an open, waiting vessel for God's word to fall on God's ears. I know this is the truth. I am so very grateful for this Center for Spiritual Loving here in GranadaHills. And so I release my word to the law, knowing that it is so, and we can sit in agreement, we can stand in agreement, we can say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, Ken. So, welcome to my brother and my sister-in-law who are here from New York City. And my older sister who's love streaming from Cathedral City, and all the other love streamers. So we lost our sister, Cynthia, 8 years ago this last week. She was our youngest sister, and her death was absolutely unexpected. So I had this arrogant thought that because I was the leader of the transition support down in Agape for 5 years, and I then was the leader of the bereavement support group down there for 3 or 4 years, that this loss would be easy. Yeah. So, we talk about these 4 states of consciousness, these places that we move through, the feeling that life happens to me, life happens for me, life happens through me, and life happens as me. Well, if there was ever a time where I felt like life was happening to me, it was the time after my sister's death. Out of the blue, I had 6 weeks with my sister dying, then she shuffles off the mortal coil, and then there's the taking care of the business end of a young person dying unexpectedly. What got me through was our understanding and our teaching that we live in a non-dual universe. I am in union with spirit. In this teaching, we never deny that someone is sick or that they suffer or that they have pain or that they're poor or they're limited in experience. What we affirm is that there is an absolute love at the center of everything. So I learned firsthand that I can hold sadness and profound grief, an absolute hole in my heart, and the absolute love in my heart at the same time. I can live in this paradox of life. And it's expressed in 2 Corinthians 4:12. So that death works in us, but life in you. It's like we are dying and living at the same time. It's all happening right now, all of it. I experience that life happens for me with my spiritual practice of living consciously and authentically, understanding that things do not happen to me, but rather for me. I used everything that comes into my experience, that came into my experience during those 8 years for my good. This spiritual community was my blessing. I had recently moved my practitioner license to this center, and even though you guys barely knew me, you all drove up to Acton and helped with the memorial. That was awesome. And I was able to work through my grief in the bereavement support group. So I really started to go into that state of cooperating with life, letting life happen through me. I grinded through the business end of her estate, allowing the best to happen, not grasping at what I wanted it to end. I trusted that life happens for me always. And I continue to realize, as what Ernest Holmes says, that we are not separate individuals, but we are divine individualizations of spirit. Truly, I realize that I am living God's life as me. And I experience no more problems, no more, it's like I don't have to solve things. I just can be in this oneness with God, with love, with harmony. I don't have to take things personally. I don't have to get defensive. I don't have to get egotistical. We know that there is one life, and that is the life of God. That life is perfect, and we all live that one life of God. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you. Although it's hard to see over the symbol right here. But today, please welcome Kitty and Jerry.
So this Mom's forgetful, but talking about absolute love, I think this song just kind of cuts right through it.
1, 2, 3.
Words fall through
Wow, yes? Right? That was beautiful. We are so blessed here in this little community to have so much talent and so much love. I just would like to invite you to look around at the face of God shining back at you. Just look at your neighbor and tell them how beautiful they are, would you please? Except for you. Except for you. This is, thank you. What a blessing to wake up on a Sunday morning and want to come to church. That's how I wake up every Sunday morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I've seen some new people, so let me just say welcome to you, and that we're glad you're here, and this is a safe place for you to land if you're looking somewhere to land. I'm here to highlight some of the announcements. Unfortunately, well, it's not a big deal, but the flyer in your program is not current. So, but it will give you a sense of some of the things that happen monthly. Every month we have some things that go on. For example, today after this second service, Reverend Jessica is facilitating the bereavement support group. So if you're struggling through a loss or grieving something, anything, come hang out there. It's a really wonderful, nurturing, loving space to be in. Also, we invite you to save the dates. If you're looking to become a member of a community like this, or even this community, it's a great time to do that because one of the requirements for membership is a discovery class where we introduce you to some of the teachings here. And that date is coming up. Our discovery class is coming up on April 30th at 1 o'clock. So if you're looking to become a member here, then you can join us and have your discovery class close together because the class is only offered once or sometimes twice a year. So save that date, April 30th. And even if you're already a member and you just want to come hear more about the community, and you're welcome to come also. And then on Saturday, May 13th, we're having a wonderful garden tea party. Yeah, that's going to be so much fun. There's a lot of planning going into this. There's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm about it. We're going to have a garden tea party. And there's planning, like I said, there's planning going on. There is a sign-up sheet in Sparks Hall, just in the next room over there, for all of these events. That would be great if you signed up, if you plan on coming, so we know how many people to expect. But that's going to be fun. Dresses and gloves and hats and tea and crumpets, maybe. I think that's all I have. Is there anything else? No? Okay. So, thank you.
So just for a little bit of clarity, the bereavement support group is for those who have lost a person, either in the distant past or the recent past. The healing support group is the second Sunday of the month for any crisis that you may be going through. But right now, we're going to all stand and we're going to state our declarations of principle. Repeat. We believe in the one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon the law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all. Stay standing. We're going to sing. Yeah.
Blessing to the We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world.
Give yourselves a hand. That was great. See, I always sing like Kitty, but I don't sound like her. So, it's my pleasure to bring on stage the just greatest Reverend Mike McMorrow, he is the heart of this center. Yes.
I was just thinking with that introduction, it's always best to undersell and over-deliver. Yeah, so Scott, make sure you have your gloves and our bonnets, and we'll be all set for the tea, right? So there's an old Irish expression, you can't have a cup of tea and not leave friends. All right? So if you're looking for a way to connect with spiritual community, and I'm afraid I'm going to bow out of this one, just saying. Yeah, tea. That's kind of a, it's ladies' night, man. I'll stop in and make my, cameo. Anyway. But it's going to be a lovely day. So it's a pre-Mother's Day deal, so. All right, so. Yeah, bring your mothers. Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry? Oh, bring your mothers, bring your others, bring whomever you like. Yes. All right, so this week, it is getting better all the time. That's the talk title today. Yes. And we're working with the Global Vision for March. We're still working with this. So education and continuous improvement. If it's your first time here, and welcome, by the way. Lovely to have you here today. Lovely to have you. And I wanted to start this morning with a quote from Meister Eckhart, Christian mystic. And it's this, that spirituality is not to be learned by flight from the world. Spirituality is not to be learned by flight from the world or by running away from things or by turning solitary and going apart from the world. Rather, we must learn an inner solitude wherever or with whomever we may be. The whomever we may be the operating part of this. that we must learn to penetrate things. We must learn to penetrate things and find God there. We must learn to penetrate things and find God there. And so this month we have been exploring strategies to penetrate things, to penetrate this world of effect that seems so real, so lasting, and so in our face sometimes, to be able to penetrate things, this world of effect, to find God there, to find God here, to know and understand that God is right where you are and right where everyone else is too. Right? That all of life, in fact, is an emanation from the very intellect of the divine itself, which you could have a very nice contemplation just in that idea, that we are living life and that this life is unfolding as a dynamic thought of the divine, and that you and I are reflections, a thinking center of the divine itself. So then the next thing, of course, is then we better start acting like it, right? So I'm reminded of this joke about religious scientists, right? So religious scientists believe there's a power, a presence, a source, one life expressing in, through, and as this manifest life, that we are a reflection of the consciousness of God, that we are the individualized expression of the divine, and that as we speak our word with authority, we can demonstrate our heart's desire in gratitude, releasing any attachment to outcome and just knowing that it is done unto us as we believe. Right? And so we demonstrate this conviction by the evidence of our life. And so the question then becomes, if religious science was the law of the land, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Would there be enough evidence to convict you? So what is outpicturing as our life? Is it outpicturing as a sense of living within the flow of life, within the joy of life, with it that has creative expression and a law of circulation of love, of creativity, or our relationships in the flow of spirit? Are our careers calling us? Are our careers a calling that we can step into? Even if we have a job, versus a career, right? There's still a calling within that, yes? Yeah, so is that the way that we're living life, or are we living life small and constricted and limited by the ways of the world that is imposing itself upon us? This we call race consciousness or group mind. Now, the interesting thing about that is that race consciousness is the average thought, right? The average people, what the average person thinks. Is that really the way we want to live life? I don't know. Anybody? Okay, good. Whew. I'm in the right place. I thought, wow, the last 10 years for nothing. Of course we don't. Of course we don't. So we have been exploring this month ways to penetrate things and to see the face of the divine in all of it. So we've spent this last month as modern believers who are drawn to a philosophy that there is an innate commitment within us to explore what spirituality means to each one of us as individuals, and then also what part of that can I bring to community, right? Not only spiritual community, like supporting this place and places like it, but also our greater community at the level of the city, at the state, our nation, our planet. Right? It's not by accident that this is our offering remembrance. That we have considered, those of us who have found their way to a place like this, we have considered the ways that we want to have room in our belief system for both inspiration and reason. for faith, but not blind faith. A spirituality that is practical and has tools that we can use to help navigate the challenges of daily life, daily living for ourselves, but also for our fellows. Also for our fellows. That's the last frontier, really. All the great avatars have been servants of humanity. So, the first week we came up with this idea of, speaking of tools, of a spiritual high five. Spiritual high five. Meditation, spiritual mind treatment, study, practicing generosity, spiritual community. High five. The second week, we explored some stuff with a philosopher named Thomas Troward, who spoke about the law of life and learning how to live within the flow of life. Well, this is not a new idea for us today, but in the turn of the 20th century, when he wrote them, they were pretty radical. And he said this, that when we make the grand discovery of how to live naturally, we shall find it to be all, and more than all, a perpetual joy to ourselves, and we shall radiate light and life wherever we go. Now, this could also be kind of a Taoist view, of which Cynthia, was it fair to say she was a Taoist? Yeah, I think she kind of left the God thing an open-ended question, but definitely in the flow of life. And her life touched the life of this community in ways that you don't know. So then we became friends with Victoria Thomas, who went on to become a minister, helped out with our young adult program. She speaks here when I'm gone. So when we make the grand discovery of how to live naturally, we shall find it to be all, and more than all, a perpetual joy to ourselves, and we shall radiate light and life wherever we go. And then last week we spoke about how we can inoculate ourselves from a contagion of fear that appears to be sweeping our country, and that we can inoculate ourselves from that fear or any of the fears that may be subtly driving us into behaviors that are not serving our highest good, by bringing the gift and the light of consciousness to them, right? And figuring out, and what is it exactly? What am I afraid of? What am I resentful about? Because they kind of go hand in hand, right? A resentment is just the story that the ego comes up to mask the fear, because then it's justified. And for those of us who, still have an attachment to anger once in a while, there's nothing like righteous anger. It's like the best. It's got the most power and the most juice in it, right? And the biggest trap. It does not serve. When we are flooding emotionally with that, whatever emotion, but particularly this one, right? Our thinking gets hijacked. Right? We're hijacked. And hijacked from what? We're hijacked from remembering that we are one with the one. The power, the presence, the love, the life that God is. This is the intention that we set when we show up really to any church on Sunday, but particularly New Thought churches. We do this in a very conscious way. I don't want to say a more conscious, we do it with a sense of consciousness and intention, a sense of renewal on a weekly, first starting weekly, right? And then in time, maybe a couple times a week, and then in time, maybe every day. Yeah, how about that? We become willing to really entertain this idea that that I am a God center, and I am its agent. I am its agent for its free expression on this earth plane. As what? As my life. as my life. Now, the difference, there's no stigmata necessary, right? So you don't have to, let's see, how can I do that? You don't have to run your finger through the, yeah. Suffering is optional. Now, that doesn't mean that life doesn't have pain. We just don't want to move in and furnish it. Right? And so one of the things that we can get caught up in that, so we've been exploring all the ways that we can get tripped out and tripped up on these kinds of things. And all of these musings, of course, are what is calling us to a deeper understanding of how the divine works. So that we come to see that it's always working. And through our spiritual practices and through applying tools and strategies to meet the challenges of life, that we cease to see with eyesight, but rather with insight. Right? To look beyond from eyesight to insight within this riddle of life. Ernest Holmes would say that we intuitively know that this original life, this is from the textbook, from our foundations class, that this original life is infinite. It is good. It is filled with peace. It is the essence of purity, is the ultimate of intelligence. It is power. It is law. It is life. It is in us, in the inner sanctuary of our own nature, hidden perhaps from objective gaze, nestles the seed of perfection. So yeah, we can get caught up in thinking that this the duality of life, right, that we think that this whole thing that's going on here is the large R reality. It's a small R reality of life. And yes, we have chosen to incarnate right here in this exact moment in time that we might have a greater experience of life, whether we're doing this consciously or not. And when we choose to do it consciously, and should we have the faith of a believer, then we come to see that it really is the expression of the divine working its way through our life. And so this is the setup for what we're going to explore here briefly this morning, and that is exploring the idea of aging as spiritual practice. Aging as spiritual practice. Now, I know all of you out there on the inside are 20 years old. Yes? Yes. On the inside, we're still wild teenagers who are in bed by 9. Yeah. Thank you, Netflix. Okay. And wherever we are on the continuum of life, we're often playing games with life. So think about this. So you would never say as an adult that I am 40 and a half. But you do when you're 4, right? When you're 4 and a half, those 6 months mean a lot. When you're 40, not so much. And I can tell you at 60, not at all. If you have teens in your life, are they still in a big hurry to grow up? Are they in as big a hurry to grow up as we were when we were teens? Yes, parents? Yeah, those who still have teens at home, yeah. Of course, maybe not so much. Maybe now they know, hey, you know what? Maybe I can cruise here. I need to be good because I need a place to land when I get out of school. Yeah. Because I'm going to go to graduate school when I'm 30. All right, so we're teens. We can't wait to get out. And we can't wait to be 21. Remember that? You can't wait to be 21, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're 30. Right? And bam, you're 45. Right? My point is that so think about what this means, though. Right? So we have this idea in our thinking that age is like this function of the timeline, and yet, in many ways, It goes by in an instant. It goes by in an instant. And so we say things like, gee, I wish I had had this teaching when I was younger. Well, you know what? We didn't. And I got to tell you, in my case, it was all around me. I was tripping over it. I actually went to a hospital when I was 19, and we were all sitting around this young fellow, that family friend, who had had a skateboard accident in Tahoe City. And Eddie was pretty mangled up. And they were all knowing the truth and speaking to Father, Mother, God, and here I was with my little Catholic mentality, and I'm going, holy God, what am I doing with these Satanists? Because it just was so foreign. I had another woman who was a religious science practitioner who was offering to help me. And actually, she did help me with some stuff around some dreams I was having. But there is no way I could have drank from those waters until I was ready. And, this is the way that I think we often go into this idea of our of aging as spiritual practice. Right? So the truth is, there's a couple of things that we know that are true. This is from Dr. Deb Gordon up in Kelowna, British Columbia, that we seem to be surrounded by a culture that supports an old paradigm of our diminishing physical and mental capacity as we grow into our maturing years, and to think it's all downhill past a certain age. And if we think about this on the earth plane, it's certainly true, right? So when I was in high school, I could run a 10-800-yard dash. That's pretty fast. 10-8. Today, I don't think I could walk one in a minute. Well, maybe I could jog. All right, so there are certain things that my physical body, well, I suppose if I wasn't so focused on pulling a hammy, maybe who knows what would happen. But it wouldn't be anywhere near 11 or 12 seconds, I can tell you that. So there are certain things that maybe I don't have the same capacity to do that I had when I was youthful. But I can also tell you that I have far more capacity in the way that I see and think about life at 60 than I did at 17. Thank you, baby Jesus and all the Buddhist saints. And I know that's true for you as well. Now, it would have been handy if there weren't so many forks in the road. Oh, that looks like a good way to go. Oh, no. Right? So, like when you spin the dial on the game of life, right? You ever play that game? You spin the dial on the game of life, and you can choose to go to college, and it's this long, circuitous route, and you pick up a wife and kids in your little car, or you can go right to work and start making money. Right? Well, that was my path. That's what it's not a bad way to go. I'm not saying. The point I'm making is that we tend to see our life in that continuum. So then the question is, using this idea of aging as spiritual practice, right? What are we willing to look beyond what we see in the mirror, or that we experience as our life as the biosuit with our eyesight, which maybe we need to put on our readers before we even look, right? To see beyond that with insight, right? To pierce through what we believe that we are seeing, and to allow the divine then to not only show us a different perception of life, but in this allowing then that our heart is opened up, and we become willing, in spite of what we think about all this going on, right? I used to worry about my hair turning gray. Now I'm just grateful that I still have some to comb, right? Those kinds of things. Yeah. Those kinds of things. And instead, to know that we're playing with infinite power, infinite intelligence, expressing itself as creativity, as life, and that we can play with that. And that's not bound by anything except our own thinking about it. Our own thinking. So is there enough evidence to convict us? What do we think about aging? What are we willing to shift now about the way that we experience life, whether we're 40 or 80 or 20 or in between? And some of the things that we have to go through to extend the length in this bodysuit, right? So for some of us, at some point, it may become, walker as spiritual practice till we get our bearings. It may mean cane as spiritual practice. It may mean disassociating from that sad old tale, that country and western song that has us anchored in an old story of loss and regret that no longer serves us. I mean, that one really is like, you ever seen those guys like on ESPN, they're running, like the combines are just over and they have the parachute behind them to give resistance? I was thinking, yeah, that's the way that people go through life sometimes, anchored by old stuff. Right? Sometimes it's a bungee cord. You get so far, and you're right there. There's a demonstration. Ugh. Am I right? Yeah. So today, before I get off onto another subject, let's use this day. Let's call the musicians up. Man, it's hot up here. Is it hot out there? All right, let's put some air on somebody back there, please. All right, so let's take a deep breath. So how can we extend this idea of keeping holy the Sabbath? We showed up here. That's a great start. So how to take this day and use it for our highest and best? Let's think about the ways that we have a story around aging. Right? And see if it first needs to be shifted in order for us to step into a greater experience of life. And if we do have an awareness of that, then to play around with the idea that the only thing that life is not passing us by, it's waiting for us to catch up. Right? That we are no longer being pulled back or anchored by old thought forms, but rather being pulled into a greater vision of life. Even if it's not articulated, maybe it's just a sense. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet, man. There's something calling me. And play around with that, even if it's just the energetic of that. Being willing to sit with that. And recognize and know that what we're experiencing, that quickening within us, is the divine saying, ollie, ollie, and come free. Right? So we step into that flow of life with a sense of freedom, loosening the shackles that may have kept us held bound up until now, and allow ourselves to express this day as the life of God, and take that energy and those insights into our work week, and then come back and report next week and see how it went.
To my lovely. What would I do without your smart mouth, drawing me in and then kicking me out? You've got my head spinning, no kidding, I can't pin you down. What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what hit me, but I'll be alright. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning, 'cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, how many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. The world is beating you down. I'm around for every move. You're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. Can't stop singing, it's ringing in my head for you. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind, 'cause all of me loves all of you. Love your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm living, 'cause you give me all of me, and you give me all of you. Oh, give me all of you. Cards on the table, and we're both showing hearts. Risking it all, though it's hard, 'cause all of me loves all of you. All your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give me your all to me, I give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose, I'm winning, 'cause I give you all of me, and you give me all of you. I give you all of me. You give me all of you. Oh.
Nicely done. Thank you. Let's give them some more love, huh? Yeah, why not? And I appreciate the work that goes in before Sunday that you guys do. And Jerry, thank you. Kitty. Yeah, it doesn't happen by accident. There's intentionality here. All right, so as we prepare our gifts for the offering, let's call our ushers forward.
sees through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me.
Yeah, why not? With a flutter and a flourish. Thank you for that. So let's just take a deep breath and invite our friends at home to breathe with us and recognize and know that the gifts presented here this morning in the basket and online are a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so from the evidence of these generous gifts here this morning, we representing the heart of this community accept these gifts with deep appreciation, love, and respect. As we know, together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless. The vision and mission of this Center for Spiritual Living and everyone here this morning and anyone connected to this center in any way, that we extend this knowing to our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, and our planet as well, that we know all of it is a demonstration of the intelligence of Spirit itself. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. This lifts our hearts and empowers us into even greater ways of spiritual living that lift ourselves and others. We are grateful. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank Marcy Cowan and Chloe, our ushers this morning. I was just fixing to come get you. Mike, oh, you got to stand up now and be seen. Let them see your lovely self. Tell them again who you are.
Maddie.
Maddie, good morning, Maddie. You got your Under Armour shirt on today. That's bad. Do they still say that? That's bad? Okay, good. I'd hate to be dated.
Now it's savage.
All right, so what do we got here?
Today we wrote like a paper, and then on one side it says we, and then another side says you because, and in the middle it says there's a circle, and it says I love me because, and in the middle you write good things about you, and on the side you write good things about other people. Mm-hmm. And then we pass it around and wrote it about other people, like good things about them.
Well, that's very nice. Can I see that? So it says, I am me because in the center. I love me. Yes, thank you. We love and you because. Anyway, very sweet. Thank you. Nice lesson there. Maybe we should do that one Sunday. Forget all this talking and carrying on. Yeah. So get out of here on time for a change. So thank you, teachers. And, we are looking for a couple folks who might want to step up for one Sunday a month and support our kids in youth church. So if you're feeling a pull in that, come see me and we'll get you squared away on that. So are you doing bereavement support today? Okay, so Reverend Jessica's on duty. Are you joining her? Possibly. So come support Reverend Jessica and possibly her family. And if you yourself are working through the loss of a loved one, come get prayed up and just be supported and held in the heart of the center itself. All right, so with that, let's thank the band one more time. Special thank you to Jerry and our Grenadian. And where's Reverend Jessica's going to pray us out. Let's get the ministers and practitioners to circle the room, please.
All right. Yes. So I invite you to, if you have an issue that it's heavy on your heart, to just place it here into this love field. Just as we sit in agreement, just all knowing that that this is all that there is, and that there is an instant healing here. I know that this service, we have been inoculated against fear, and we have just been infected with this love germ. And it is so contagious that as we leave today, that it radiates from each one of us, and that it does affect. We have changed the planet here today with our love, with our open heart, with our knowing that we are one, with spirit, with love, and that's just all that there is. So I am grateful. I'm grateful for every single one of you here, sitting in the chairs and the love streamers at home, and the musicians for sure. And so we just relax into this. Just relax. Allow life to work through us. And we can affirm this by saying, and so it is. Amen.
Will you stand for the peace song?